All right, the recording has started for the regular board meeting for the Southwood B Parks and Recreation District, July 15th, 2026 meeting. We do have a quorum. The public comments, we have one person online, Michael Miller. Michael, are you here to make a public comment or are you just listening in? So we will continue. I'm going to share my screen and we will go on to the financial report. Let me pull up my screens here. Be honest, the financial report came in late. I didn't dive in as deeply as we normally would, but did look through the numbers. I was giving Carrie credit because her budget projection and her budget actual for the revenues within $990. So that's she doesn't want to take credit, but I'm giving her credit because that's unusual. But overall, we're healthy. Our expenditures are almost 100,000 under what we projected. We do have a relatively large check, around $80,000 coming from RCO. Any day now, we're expecting that. That's the final payment for the pickleball project, which will close that project. Everything is now completed. And the courts, if you guys haven't had a chance to go over there this summer, are packed out on a regular basis. We'll talk about the parking lot we got done there. So
how much is the check for?
75 and 80. It's the last installment of it. So so we should be getting that any day now, which would be a nice cherry on top of what's been a pretty successful project. So
And is that those expenses have already been expended?
yeah, the last two big ones are in the vouchers tonight. The final one to the architect and the final one to the contractor. So we sitting pretty. The fund balances are stable, pretty similar to what they've been the last few months. Nothing really jumped out there. Our construction fund is the columns on the right are getting closer. You remember it wasn't too long ago that the far right column, which is what we have remaining, was significantly higher. I did the projections yesterday for the end of the year of how much when we should basically be running out of the 16 million we have left. And at the current cost down, spend down projected model, we've got till about the end of February we'll be out of money, which is where the LTGO comes in. So I reached out to the bank yesterday and they know it's coming. We've had these conversations with Heritage. So I just said, hey, so now we kind of have a timeline for when we think we need the money, which is probably December, January, just to give us a little cushion. Can you give us a working timeline of when we should be meeting with you, getting this stuff working together? So we want to get it as late as possible because it's going to give us the most accurate number. So 3.7 million is what we budgeted to ask for at an LTGO. Hoping to get that number down closer to 3 million, which would be great. So so overall good. Our interest cruised over 800,000. We still have to meet with our arbitrage specialist just to make sure there's no surprises at the end of this that we would have to give any of this back. There are some limits to some of this, so that is on our list to make that contact. We got some names of some people
to give back.
There's a limit to how much interest.
How much interest?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Deanna from Pacifica thinks at this point we're fine. In her opinion, this isn't her area.
Okay.
So it's her opinion that she doesn't think it's going to be a problem. But
is it some sort of percentage or like a set amount?
Yeah, it's how much we earned in like the first year versus how much we have earned subsequently, and percentages compared to what our yield was for the bond itself. And then also has to do with how the county has invested it as well. So it's kind of invested it twice. Yeah.
So we think we're good. I mean, this has been it's almost $1 million we're going to be at by the time this is done. So it's not an insignificant addition to what we're doing. So great. And the contingency is sitting solid. We're still over $2 million in our contingency, which again will impact the LTGO decisions. Some of the highlights of what got used this month was we did get hit with our first tariff. Steel tariffs coming from Canada into the US. And so we had to pay an extra $40,000 for that. We put some placeholders in for a robo vacuum, which is what cleans the bottom of the pools. and a vending machine, so nothing too major. We have a couple somewhat larger contingency hits in the next month or so. When we redid the office space from a conference room into offices, that's going to probably be around 80,000, somewhere around there with all the stuff they had to do. So, the contingency is still very healthy, knock on wood. So we continue to plug along. So, any questions on that part of the report? Otherwise, I can hop over to vouchers. Yeah, nothing too crazy on the vouchers. I highlighted the water and water management services, the 473. Oh, it didn't stay with it. So let me close out that PowerPoint. Thank you for out. There we go. $473 from the water management services we've had with a failed coliform test and stuff. They've been out there doing a little bit more work. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And the only other thing that jumped out at me was there's a registration for the annual 8-hour PA conference. Probably next month, maybe September, I'm going to bring to you guys the full scale of the trainings and the certifications and all the different staff we have coming in. They're all going to need various certifications and trainings. And we as, you as a board is going to have to decide the policy as to what, if any of that we want to pay, whether it's lifeguard recertifications or CPR certifications or all the different things. And there's some conferences and things in there too that have to decide. So that's coming down the pike. That's just a preview. But for the rest of the vouchers, they all seem pretty straightforward. Just summer expenses for the most part. You guys have any questions on the vouchers? Then I would welcome.
It's like our PSC bill went down.
Yeah, PSC, the PSC bill was the construction one, the temporary power we have over there. They were sending us like $1,000 per month bills, which was crazy. And they were projecting because they weren't getting an accurate meter reading. So their meter, they had two meters. One was sending the right signal, one wasn't. So when one doesn't send a signal, PSC guesstimates. So that's what we were getting hit with, was their guesstimate. So we called and said, it's not a good at guess. And every 3 months they come out with it. They have to guesstimate and do the real number. So now they've got the real number. So 2 or 3 months ago, they had us, the meter over there said like around 11, or they had us paying up to like 11,000, whatever the term of measurement is. And we were like at 8,000. And even now we have it at 11,000. So our PSC bill for those temporary powers should be very small for a while because
So they're gonna
we paid in advance.
So we had a good credit.
gradually play catch up then.
Yes. The good news is with
Over
PSC, PSC, we basically just paid it up front and had to explain to them that your guesstimates are way off, way off. So,
Back the meter reader.
yeah. So, and that temporary power has only got so much time left before the real power. We're going to be burrowing under Max Welton to put the real power in sometime this fall, probably. So we're not too far away from them getting real power over there. So we'll still be paying for that too. That's all good. All right. With that, I would welcome a motion to
I can make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll second that.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Krista, aye.
Jake, aye. Not aye.
I'll say no, and the ayes have it. Thank you. All right, on to the staff report. I was saying earlier when Matt was here with Sky, I didn't get a full report from Sky just because he's so busy right now. He's jumping around, but summer programs are going really well. I know at least Krista, I know you were at the first concert in the park and we've gotten over 200 each time and real successful, but just as importantly, all the kid programs, the camps, the soccer camps, they're all just popping. They're doing great. Sky's doing a good job of organizing. Magic Camp's been over there this week. I know Carrie's daughter's taken advantage of a few of the camps. So kayak camp obviously.
Yeah, we're at
Yeah.
90% last time I looked.
So things are going great. Swim lessons at Eustis Bay are going great. So I think, things are going well in the summer. Sky's doing a great job of facilitating and also building some new things into there. So
Big turnout last night.
about 240, I think 260, something like that. Sky did a head count. He's also using his new drone to do some cool videos and pictures. So he's actually over there now doing some drone pictures of the pool because he hasn't done that in a few weeks. So
It's like Shakespeare started too.
yeah, they're
Next
Forgot
week.
about
they postponed unfortunately, but unfortunately I don't have it. Okay, at our request, King Water, on the facilities and grounds, did another coliform test. We basically wanted to, after we had bleached and cleaned and did all the stuff we could do, we said, can you come and test this again? And good news is the test came back negative. So we are clear in terms of water related issues. King Water had to submit, and they did submit a report to the state on July 8th, just a follow up. Here's what we've been doing. I'll feel better when the state finally just accepts that. But at this point, we have no real issues. So that's a positive.
Are we on now more frequent testing protocol?
Well, we're looking at switching companies, and that the new company wants to do weekly while the construction project's going on. So we're kind of in discussions about that because that seems a little excessive. King comes out monthly right now. So it may depend on what the state requires. If the state says, yeah, you passed it. I mean, it was one hose bib off the bathrooms is what was failing. So it wasn't at the well. It wasn't multiple places. It was one specific location. So at this point, we're waiting for the state to respond to the report they filed, which should be any day. So
Yeah, and I mean, my thought would be like if they're talking about a weekly protocol, we do weekly until we prove that over some number of weeks, like 4 weeks, that we don't see it, and then graduate to a semi-monthly or monthly.
yeah, and if we're able to switch companies now, that's exactly what we'll do. Mostly because that's what they want to have. There's so many moving pieces in this part. Now the sports complex is fine. That's another system, and that's never had any issues that I know of. But the community park, there's so many things going on with the trenching and the water and all the stuff that they're moving around. Weekly testing right now doesn't seem irresponsible to me.
Right.
It's more money, but it's
Well, and especially if we got 240 people in the park
a lot of usage.
looking to get a drink of water on a hot evening, and
Don't
now
drink
they're
water.
wondering if like they're gonna keel over.
Yeah, don't come to the community park, but not yet. Now we're gonna trench down. We did put the valve in at the top of that clean water that's going to the pool. We did put the valve at the top of that. So eventually our guys will trench down to the concession stand area and put the clean water in. So it is on the list. We took that out of the project as a cost saving thing because our guys could do it once the valve was installed. So that is on our list so that we can get treated water, the good water that's coming to the pool, get that at the concession stand. So that's on the to-do list. I apologize, I didn't get pictures of this, but hopefully you've seen it firsthand. But the asphalting of Trustland Trails, the entryway, as well as the pickleball parking lot is complete. The company did a great job, very pleased with them. Next step will be Tom and his guys are going to stripe the pickleball courts because, as I mentioned earlier, the courts are incredibly busy. And what that does when you have an unstriped parking lot, it just causes a lot of people being creative, and that causes tension. So we're going to stripe that parking lot down below. And yeah, looks good. We're all happy with that project being done. And finally, after an unexpected delay, the new rope climbing structure at Castle Park, which you guys approved in this early spring, has finally arrived and should be installed soon. So excited to get that up.
We'll be happy.
Yes. Yes.
And I last time I was at Trustland Trails was before this. Did that any of the big old roots and
Oh,
like
yeah.
that?
Yeah, they ground all the roots down. So, yeah, because it was just, it was just really bad. So if we had control there, we would have taken some of those trees out. I mean, it's not our on the side there, it's the state. So,
Did they cut them out or just put a thick enough layer that,
they grinded them down. So
Oh,
they
nice.
took them down and then
so they won't be,
not for a while. And so, yeah, looks really good. Real happy with the company. It was a new company that we hadn't worked with before, so you just never know. So they did a really good job. My report, back onto the water. We've had a couple meetings now with a company called Water and Wastewater Services. Got their name from the school. It's who the school uses for their water management. It's also who a lot of places, a lot of HOAs around here are switching to. So far, we've been really impressed with their professionalism. They're much bigger unit. Instead of a team of 5 or 6, they've got like 50 on staff. Several of them live on island. So we got a cost estimate of what it would take. It was favorable. I'll bring that to you at some point in the future. We're in discussions now about making them our water management company. Part of the discussions is initially they wanted to do weekly testing at both locations. And I'm like, well, it doesn't make any sense to do weekly testings at the sports complex. That's just a waste of money because that's never failed anything. It's a small little unit. Other complication, small complication is contractually. If you read our King contract that we have, it's an annual contract. There's no real loophole for us to get out of it before the end. So, yeah, it was worded, and it's a contract we've kind of rubber stamped year after year.
Even if we're not happy with the service.
If they're not doing something, then we have to give them a 15-day window to fix it. So it isn't general enough that we just don't like it. It's got to be a specific, they're in violation of their contract. Not the end of the world. It's a few months. We're in July. But once we get the report back from the state, I'm going to wait for that before I do anything because I am afraid of things getting worse after we've told them we're leaving. Then I'll go back to them and I'll say, hey, we'd like to be done now. Can we be, will you let us out of the contract early? We'll see. So we'll work on that. Worst case, we'll look at making the change. And we're still working through the contract and the agreement with this company. So they haven't sent us an actual contract yet. They've just sent us the estimate. So once we have a contract from them, we'll send it through legal, make sure there's no poison pills in there that would screw us over.
Again, is out of abundance of caution, since we do have this positive test result, my personal feeling would be we do the weekly testing everywhere, including the sports complex. So that's even potentially worse if you got smaller kids at that playground looking for water, and we end up having an unknown positive. Like I said, doing that for 4 weeks, probably not any kind of significant expense relative to the offsetting the risk. Right. Just because we have a positive test result, which we think we just got to chase that until we know it's out, and we don't have it.
And you may have already said that. I get where you're coming from, but they actually also did multiple tests. So I don't know how many tests they did that came up
on each side of the well. They had the state required, I think, a half a dozen on each side of the well,
right. Over a different
right.
time.
And that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and there's there are other water systems on Whidbey that have that detection. We also have it in bodies of water. It's been it's detected in Freeland, at the dock every summer. So it's in people's consciousness. We know it's around in the water. So, like I said, abundance of caution in my own opinion that should be our lean on the side of that's too much, even if we have them coming out here once a week.
Yeah. Well, things should be percolating here in the next week or two once we get the state thing, talk to King, and basically see their availability. But I know we're going into a system now where currently if we have a failed test and things have to close down, the worst thing that's going to happen is people can't drink the water and we've got to bring some porta potties in. But we're a few months away from having a much bigger issue if we fail tests, right? I mean, so having a facility that's needs to have water is so having a good water management company is going to be a good step. And so
was this just like a standard test that popped up, or was it because that the service was interrupted?
It was a standard test. It just came up on our regular monthly test. So
we need to update that if we do this change from King Water. We probably need to update the small water system management plan.
We talked to them about that. They would do an addendum. So he goes, you don't need to do a whole nother plan. You do your plans every 10 years or so.
Right.
But he goes, we would do a section in the back that was specific, and they would do that for us. So that was part of the conversation because I was thinking we'd have to do the whole thing, but
that plan will have to be updated for the aquatic center.
Sure. And they would do that too. Yeah. Insurance. I mean, there's not much of an update here, but we continue to look at insurance options. We're kind of down to 2 that would facilitate our needs. One is Endurus, who will stay with. There's a company, WCIA, the acronym's for missing me right now, but pretty much all the pools that we found that are public pools like us, these are the 2 most common insurance carriers. That and AWC, but AWC is more complicated because we're not a city. So we're working with both of them, trying to get a more firm quote. I will say when we did our pool tours and I was dropping the $20,000 a month insurance thing, I wasn't getting a lot of like shock. So that made me feel a little bit better. Like they were like, yeah, it's expensive. Okay. So we're going to work to get that as cheap as possible while still covering our needs. Speaking of risk management, new HR position is open. So we have an open job out there. First reviews are August 3rd. We've already got 8 or 9 applicants in the queue. So that's great. Several on the island, all of them with HR experience.
It opened, what, a week ago?
About a week ago. So we put it on Drew's list, obviously, put it on our social media, we put it on Indeed. So it's on both sides of the island. Yeah, good response. I'm not surprised. It's a good job on the island. So then after that, we'll focus on the aquatics manager job next, and then the facilities coordinator after that. Since the HR manager will report to the deputy director position, we're going to promote Carrie starting August 1st. Yay. Congratulations, Carrie. She'll be business manager / deputy director for a while. We just didn't want to be interviewing an HR manager and be confusing as to who's reporting to who. And so, yeah, we're excited to do that. Carrie's, as you know, is the perfect fit with lots of experience. She also is a perfect complement to my skill set. She does things well that I don't, and vice versa, I think. So I think it'll be a good team. We met with, Carrie and I did, a company called Pay Northwest. This company came highly recommended. Anna Cordes in particular was very passionate about them. It's a payroll service. It does more than just payroll. It's taxes. It's also like an app that the employees can check in and out. So when they check in and out on their app, it goes right onto their timesheet. We'll be scheduling all this stuff. It's one-stop shopping for a lot of it. Very impressed with them. We got a quote of what their services would be. We'll bring back to you guys in a month or so too. August and September, we're going to be bringing a lot more budget stuff like this. We're looking at reshifting some of the duties at the center to save some of the money that could offset the cost here, particularly the HR administrative assistant. We're looking at putting that person at the front desk as a number 2 person at the front desk, 20 hours a week or so. So they're able to do their work from the front desk, which would save us having to pay a part-time person. So we're working on a plan, which we'll bring back to you. But for now, we had an encouraging conversation. Payroll is going to be a lot more complicated. I mean, it certainly could be done in-house. We've got, I think, a pretty good sized staff team, but for the cost that they're quoting us, it may be more efficient and
better quality.
Yeah, better quality. That's a good way to put it. Not better than Carrie, but better than whoever replaces it. I'll show you the pictures in a second if you haven't seen them. They're not great. They're a little grainy, but Pat McVeigh did complete the memorial bench that you approved. It's installed at the upper field. It looks amazing. Been up there several times, and it seems like I always see someone just kind of stopping and enjoying it, rather they're sitting or rather they're looking. Yeah,
Good vantage point.
beautiful location. Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, they did order a plaque to honor the young man, and when that's received, they're going to have a little ceremony, for lack of a better way to put it, a little gathering to dedicate the bench. I'll show you the pictures here in a second. August 12th, last year we had a barbecue, just a fun staff barbecue, which of course the board is invited to. It's August 12th at 11:30. We're going to do it at the sports complex this year. So just a simple share a dish. I'll provide the hamburgers and hot dogs, but a good time to, and particularly because this time next year, our staff's going to look very different. So good time to kind of enjoy that. But here's a picture of the guys installing the bench. Again, not the sharpest picture here. And then if you look next to it, this is the little, where the dedication plaque will go, is a little side table. So
That was his brother. And one of his teammates. Classmates.
nice. Just a beautiful tribute, and Pat, as always, he makes beautiful stuff. So we're fortunate to have that in the park, and honored to pay tribute to this young man and his family. So, all right, well, that's all I got for the staff report. Any questions? Moving on to committee and community meeting reports. Anybody talk to anybody or have anything to share this month? July, so maybe not.
It's fine. At Lone Lake,
It got painted,
got painted.
looks great.
Yeah.
So our guys went in and power washed it off, and then Leslie arranged for someone to come in and paint it. Looks great. So.
Go ahead. I got a guess like,
With that,
okay,
Lone Lake or Gus Lake?
that's one like,
Yeah.
and I still have not, and I did not reach out again today. I know how busy they are this time of year, but still have not heard an update on that bathroom, which has been over a year now. Which, yeah, the bathroom at Lone Lake, which has
Yeah.
been burned and just sitting there closed. So I mean, it's, we don't get any complaints, which is fine, but I mean, it just seems weird that it's taking this long to.
Yeah.
It's not a structural thing, really. I mean, it's burned, but it's not. I mean, it's something that could be, I think, anyways, what do I know? Not fixed and no update on it. So anyways, Matt, did you have something about
No.
Goss Lake?
so two things I noticed that guys in the last like 3 weeks of lake level, they must have cleared the outflow. The lake level's down like
It's
20 years. It's been
so low.
almost the front yards of those people have been underwater for 20 years. They're
Yeah.
about to be exposed, all those fences that are underwater.
Yeah. I
It's like,
was,
Your cars.
I was teaching a class there on Saturday and I was shocked. And was wondering like, what happened?
Like I said, I think that someone or some activity had blocked the outflow like 15 years ago and it's just all obstructed. And I don't know if they as a community decided to open it or clear it or the property owners there. There's a couple of those properties have changed hands in the last 6 to 10 months. But anyway, that was one. The other thing that just a subtlety, I've heard chatter from 2 people fishing there. Somebody, and I didn't look at that hard to figure out who, placed a new bench on the far side of the boat launch. Like there was always that rickety bench.
The swimmer bench.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's whoever did the graphic, put like a fish or a fisherman or a fish hook and put a line through it, like a circle and no. And I've heard like 3 fishermen that's chattering about how they don't, like, who is it decided that we're not welcome here kind of thing. And I just think it's something that if however that got to be there, that we could like gently suggest that somehow be like changed. It's just it's sitting there staring in the face.
It is, but I think, and I agree that it was not done well, but I believe it's because of the hooks that were being left.
Okay.
Because like, the pilings, as you're coming down the ramp, right, you have those
Yeah,
couple of pilings, right, and the other bench was right next to it.
Yeah.
So constantly you would find old hooks stuck into the pilings. And I noticed that as well. But I think that is the reason why, because it was kind of like, because we're swimming and so we have nothing on our feet. And there are these hooks that are being left.
So you're saying it's a no hook sign, not a no fishing?
Yeah, it's not a no fishing, it's a no
That was
hook.
maybe the intention.
that explanation is lost on the fishing.
Well, and I-
Just saying,
Yeah,
like,
like-
that's,
And I might I may go down and just take a picture of it and send it off to the Fish and Wildlife because it's their park, and I'm sure they don't want a sign that says that it maybe implies no fishing. Obviously, it's what they do.
It's not implying no fishing. It's implying fishermen are not welcome to sit on this bench.
Oh,
That's what it is. It's like a circle with a line through it saying, don't sit here. And the only people who are standing around there are people who are fishing off the bank. They're not on that side. They're up on the hill a little bit, but.
paired with it being labeled swimmer's bench.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, it just, and that's why I said a chatter I hear from this group, because I'm standing there going swimming.
Yeah.
And
you can sit in the bench.
they just feel less welcome, like, are we not welcome in this park anymore, the guy says, and I'm like, trust me, you're welcome in this park.
yeah.
But then I'm sitting there staring at this bench, which is beautifully painted, like it's crystal clear, it's not like it's some subtlety.
That fishing game, maybe that will light a fire, then get 2 things done.
Well, you're on that one.
Bathroom and, yeah, they wouldn't want that. as an angler
And this
too,
is
I could
God,
do that.
this guy, so,
Right, but like
Yeah.
address the two parts.
yeah, oh, no,
Maybe that
yeah,
would-
absolutely.
Yeah, that would help light a fire.
I think, yeah, you're,
There's
you're
also
certainly
a
welcome in a
very
park ran by the,
active
Fish and
beaver at
Wildlife.
Cross Lake too,
Is there?
so it might be clear now, but I don't know how long that's gonna last, because this beaver is working really hard.
oh, there's a beaver. That's
Yeah,
interesting. I'm gonna go down, just take a look.
Yeah, I want to see that
I haven't
too.
been to Goss Lake
That
this
would
summer yet.
be unsettling if you're an angler.
Yeah, just walk down there and just take a look. Yeah, to me, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked.
On to the comprehensive program report. I'm sorry, was there any other committee things? Okay. Miscellaneous, Seacom Fish and Wildlife. The agreement with them has been in their hands for about a year. So about a year ago, I sent them our agreement ended at the end of the year. We're still actively doing the agreement. I talked to Belinda, who's their contract person, about a week ago, and I said, where are we at? Seems strange because it's pretty cookie cutter agreement. And, we volleyed it back a few times and then it just kind of stopped. And she goes, I think we are looking and realizing that we gave you a cookie cutter agreement and your situation is a cookie cutter because of what you guys do. I said, yeah, because I think where the conversation went was there was a line in there about you're not allowed to basically run programs or, out of the park. You can't make money out of the park. And I pushed back and said, well, we do classes occasionally. We certainly did the triathlon for years. And that was never a problem. That you're telling me, because I don't want to sign this, and you're telling me that's a problem. So that got her working through. So they're working up a whole new agreement for us, which pretty much will say the same things. I mean, and that we're doing the favors here. So I don't think they're motivated to make life difficult for us. But it did cause a delay. She goes, can I get this to you by September? So,
Well, the other language that's in that agreement is basically it says, well, we might do stuff to the facilities things or infrastructure things, but we'll give it back to you in the form we took it from you.
yes.
So, something that says, like, if we do an upgrade to the swim dock, then we're not gonna take the upgrade out.
Yep.
Like, for the benefit of the public, those kinds of things will be accepted in the turnover, because it's pretty clear, if I remember right, that you did something like that, you would have to take it back out. 5 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever. So I would, if there's any way to soften that, say things that are done for the best interest of the public with the agreement of WDFW. Add as an addendum into the agreement as we do that. Yeah, hey, we agree that we're gonna fix the swim dock. Okay, great. That's now in the agreement.
I pushed back on that one too, but I took it from a different angle. I read it as if the park were to close, let's say there was a major fire out in one of the parks, like let's say Lone Lake, and the park were to close. Well, the wording of the agreement is when this agreement's over, you will leave the park in the way you found it. So contractually, that looked to me like we would have to restore that park. So I kind of pushed that too. It's like, I'm not sure what, and my question to her was, I'm not sure what the spirit of this line is, because we're the ones cleaning your park. So I'm not sure why we would need to restore anything if the agreement were to end. And that was one of the holdups that they were working on too. It's like, we're not trying to get away with anything. We're just, I don't want the district to be liable for something if something were to, let's say one of the docks burned down and they closed the park.
I was in one of those first meetings with those guys, and the intent of the state program is to provide for fishing and boating. And so they're trying to cover for if we put in, diving platforms or something associated with park programs, and they get in the way of boater access and fishing access, that we'll take those out when we give it back to them. I think they were just realizing that partnering with agencies who don't have boating and fishing as their primary objective. So,
that could be worded like that. I think that's something like that. If we put something in, we'll take it out.
and also, to that, as we know, they are very much reevaluating who their users are and how their properties are being used, and going forward, that committee is on hiatus just for the summer, but I'm sure that the results of that work are going to start showing up in contracts.
Yeah.
so I agree. And the point I was making, Ryan, was that we soften it so that if we do something the best interests of the public and of user groups, that we write that in, we're a year into the agreement or 6 months into the agreement, we write it in as an addendum saying, hey, we agreed with you guys that we're gonna do this and we're gonna make this dock better. And we don't have to undo it later. 'Cause
And then that makes a lot of sense. Something at the end of it makes interesting. So we'll be dealing with that in the fall. First annual South Woodby pickleball tournament set August 21st, which will be a senior day. Then 22nd is open to everybody. They were going to have a trial run of this a couple weeks ago, but this guy got sick and it got delayed. The Aquatic Center, meeting with Sky and Mark tomorrow with Woodby Telecom. So we're starting that part of the process now. Everything from cameras to phone lines to internet and all of that. So just starting to work through what we need to be thinking about infrastructure wise. We've started doing weekly meetings, an additional weekly meeting with Sky, Carrie, and Mark to kind of talk about this internal stuff that needs to be kind of getting ready for. So we're having an informational meeting tomorrow. And then I met with ARC and Mark last week with Mad Energy Northwest. Mad Energy is the subcontractor doing the solar panels on the building. Currently, the building calls for 15 kilowatts of solar panels. Meeting was to get more information as to what it would take scope-wise and cost-wise to finish the project. So to do the entire roof, to maximize the solar array. There's local residents who are raising funds, trying to, or at least in the process of discussing raising funds. To do that, this would be a separate project after the project's done, so probably early 28 if they have the money. So anyways, good conversation with Mad Energy. He had some interesting insight as to where the solar panels could fit because the slanted roof causes a bit of a challenge as far as adhering them to the roof, but there's other options. So at some point, when this group, and I think they will, finds grants that are appropriate, they'll bring that to you guys to discuss and have a more broad conversation. So, anyways, so that's in the queue as well. And I think I just got a couple updated pictures, which you guys could see. Obviously, the siding's going well, and the roof is, it's coming together pretty quick. Big red dosing tanks and septic tanks are now on the ground, which is great. That's just an interesting picture of the entryway. So, anyways, and that is the comprehensive plan report. Things are going great. Any questions? Last but not least, a subject that has been percolating for at least the 3 years that I've been here, which is the best approach of dealing with private instruction in the park. The challenge here that we've had is you get guys, particularly this time of year, who are out there. The prime example is goalie instruction. They're out there doing goalie instruction, different kids, different times of the day. When approached, we often get, well, we're not taking money, or, oh, yeah. Because we're not approaching them saying, get out. What we're saying is, listen, there's a couple options. You can come and get a permit, which is pretty standard in any municipality that you have to have a permit through us, and then you can do it. Or you can run the program through us. If you want to do goalie instruction, just make it one of our programs. You'll get most of the money. It's not a money thing. It's a scheduling thing. Because, like, for instance, we had soccer camps the last couple of weeks, and you get a goalie coach coming up to these 19-year-old British kids that are trying to run a camp saying, hey, can I use this goal over here? And what's a 19-year-old kid from another country going to say? Yeah, I guess, and so you have these conflicts, and, it seems like it's 3 or 4 guys. And the thing is, it's in clear violation of our code of conduct. It's, we have rules against this. So we just need to have some action steps. So it's no longer just a thing of staff coming in complaining, saying, well, that guy just blew me off again. So what I'm hoping for tonight is just to get some thoughts, input, as I'll walk you kind of through what we're thinking. The steps that we're thinking is kind of a 3-step process. And this isn't really new policy. It's just kind of putting structure to what our policy is. I sent you in the board packet the code of conduct, which clearly outlines everything from private instruction to following staff rules. I mean, there's a lot of rules that are kind of breaking here. And so the 3-step process to enforce it that I'm thinking we're going to do, and I'd love to get your input, is step 1. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to step back for a second. I may just read this letter just in case you haven't had a chance to. Because this would be the letter that would be handed to them as kind of step two. And it would, again, not trying to be confrontational with people, but trying to communicate clearly so that there's no miscommunication. It would be something like this. Dear instructor, the Parks and Recreation District is committed to fair and consistent use of public facilities. It has come to our attention that private sport instruction and or coaching services are occurring on district property without the authorization from the district. Please be advised that individuals providing paid lessons or other instructional services on district-owned property must do so through an approved agreement with the Parks and Recreation District. Unauthorized commercial activity, including the collection of fees for instruction conducted on district property, is prohibited. This aligns with Washington State Constitution, Article 8, Section 7. That's basically the part about not giving away government funds, not letting people have property for free. To ensure compliance with district policies, oops, just lost it, forgive me. The following progressive enforcement will be implemented. First will be a notification, a verbal warning informing the instructor of the district's policy. At staff's discretion, this may come with a 7-day ban from being in the park. Again, that's the code of conduct. The code of conduct says up to 7 days. We wouldn't want to do this. The idea of the first warning is the assumption that people just may not know, right? I go to a public park.
First warning is the verbal?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Just go up and talk to them. Say, listen, you can't do this. Here are the options of where you could do this. With the thought that, a lot of people, whether it's pickleball, basketball, baseball, there's a lot of other, not just soccer goalies. Because I've seen kids in there doing baseball instruction down there in a similar kind of thing. So the idea is to have a conversation. The second one then is to give them this letter. We've talked to you about this before. So this is a formal written warning documenting continued unauthorized instructional activity. At this time, again, according to our code of conduct, comes with a 90-day ban from using this park. And at this point, we would have this letter physically handed to them. The third step, at this point, you're just clearly just blowing us off. And that's when we would look at getting hold of the non-emergency line and saying, this person's just not following our policies, and we would look at trespassing them from the park. Seems to me we're giving them a lot of leeway, and each step along the way is really encouraged not to kick them out, but to get them simply to follow the rules, right? Rent the field, pay the $20 for an hour of the field, or come under our umbrella, get 80% of the revenue. We'll even help recruit it. You can get more kids out of it. We do have one instructor that we know is taking money. We've had parents have confirmed it, and Tom actually says he's seen money actually cross hands from parent to child. So there's a clear person that I just found that out the other day, and I'm like, oh, well, there's a clear person that really shouldn't be. And apparently that person was using the school fields over the last year, but school's not available because they're under construction. So, and then we give a little disclaimer at the end. And, if you're interested in offering lessons, you're encouraged to contact us, discuss partnerships, or obtain a special use permit. And then we leave our name and number with my information at the bottom. So it seems to me this is something for the staff in the field. It gives them a tool. Like, okay, we now have 3 steps. Gives them my information so that if I'm not available, at least that people can get hold of me. But that's kind of the stop. Anyways, the goal tonight is to kind of get you guys' opinion as to thoughts.
To me, like maybe there's a first step, which is I can imagine like just like an info card, got a QR code on it, right? That you hand to someone and says, "Good news. These are your options for running a program in the park. You can either do it this way, or you can do it this way. The easy way or the A way and the B way that you were just describing."
Mhm.
And that's just a hand. There's no punitive nature to it. It's just they didn't know, they had no idea. Okay, here, great. Seems like that's the first step. And then you get to the letter, which has more unauthorized this and 7-day ban that and 90-day, like that's second step. Like
Right.
Give them something that's friendly and welcoming and gives you all the information you need, and you can come over and talk to us or we'll walk you through it or blah, blah, blah. And then they've at least had a chance to just go, oh, well, I had no idea.
They're doing that already.
When do we do that though?
That is the existing first step,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
verbally, but
verbally.
Yeah, but it's
verbally.
There's not a tool with it. That's what.
You're standing out in the middle of the field and the guy's got 2 kids he's coaching. Yeah, good luck. Like, I mean,
You
give
know,
him something.
Yeah, maybe a card, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like if somebody wants to either rent a field or set up a program, who would they speak to?
Anyone here?
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe it's literally just handing out a card.
Yeah, like I'm envisioning like our mail, like it's got a picture on it and it's got a QR code and says this, and they scan it with their phone and boom, they're on the registration page, they sign up, they pay, or they might acknowledge that. Like, and you get their information right away, right? Because they register. Now we know their name, their email, their phone number. Like dual purpose, like we get information from them, make it super simple, like all they gotta do is scan it with their phone. They don't even have to remember who they talked to.
I like something like that too. I think, I like this has some teeth. I like where it's going to. I was a little unsure on, because we're not giving them the paper copy until the second violation.
Right.
So I was didn't really understand too why it would kind of go back and say maybe a 7-day ban for the first verbal. If we're just talking to them in person, I kind of like that, just to friendly talk to the office. Here's a card. Here's a phone number, email. But I really like the 90-day and the potential if they're still not playing how they should in the sheriff's office.
What is this? And
I think we should have.
you know, and the code of conduct thing, like, are we saying, I have to go back and look at it. But we say, for this activity, for, unauthorized program in the park, you're sanctioned for 7 days. Can they go to a concert in the park on that Wednesday, or are they out of the park?
Well, here are the excerpts from the code of conduct, which are kind of the three that are clearly kind of covered with this. One is any commercial activity without written authorization from the district director, use of property without a permit for use that requires a permit, and then just failing to comply with an issue. And it doesn't really differentiate, I guess. It just says banned. It doesn't necessarily say from the park or from district property.
Right.
At least not that I saw. So I don't know.
Right, so and I don't know what the intent was when we were doing that however many years ago, but like, we say, you're banned from doing this thing that we're doing without authorization.
Right.
And if you want to bring your kids to the concert, that's great.
Right.
Right, I mean, I think sanctioning, having some teeth to the activity, because obviously that's one thing that's the most important to them. I like that. I'm not 100% sure. I love that you can't do anything else in the park.
I agree.
For the first notification.
Yeah, especially that. Like if they're obviously like disregarding this, then I think that having more consequences, right, more reasonable.
And I think the 7-day ban, 30-day bans, that all just came from the code of conduct. I don't know that staff, I don't think people would follow that, because we're telling, there's 3 or 4 guys now that are doing this, and 1 or 2 in particular are belligerent. They just are. They're just like, they're not going to do this, and they made it clear that, they're just not going to do this. So we're kind of dealing with 2 different people. One is there's just a guy out there on the basketball court with 3 or 4 guys, and he's doing drills and never thought that he had to do anything like that. Those are the people that we want to, with open arms, be welcoming. Like, here are your opportunities. Here's how you can do this in a above board way, and we can reserve some space for you. All that kind of stuff that's there. If you get to that stage and it's hostile, you probably have already lost them. And the 7-day ban is just what the code of conduct says. I don't think it's anything that we would ever enforce. I think it's almost unenforceable. Being told by a parks guy you can't come for 7 days doesn't have the teeth of right, a trespass from thing. So I like your emphasis, because I agree, is first step shouldn't be get out. It should be, let's figure this out. But now you're back a week later with three different kids. Well, now you just pretty much ignored me.
Right.
And now you're going to get this letter.
And that's totally fine.
And then the next time, well, now you're back again after you ignored me twice. So now we're just not going to deal with it. We're just going to, and like I said, the goal is to get them under the umbrella and just playing by the rules. That's
Well, I
the goal.
mean, I like.
To Matt's point, like, maybe that conversation is maybe not quite enough. Maybe giving them something.
Sure.
That outlines, like, these are your, like, apply for a permit, have it, or have it be one of our programs. And what this gets you is guaranteed scheduled time on the, you know what I mean? Like this,
Picture of you in the
this is what
activity
it
guide,
is.
like, we want your program because it's really cool if we could offer this, and this. Like, that'd be great to be able to highlight it to the community and instead of you having 3 kids, let's get you 10 kids.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I think the other challenge of this is Jake's out there doing goalie training. And I go up to Jake and say, Jake, hey man, you know, if you're doing, these guys are paying you, you gotta, these are your options. Well, they're not paying me. I'm just doing it out of the goodness of my heart.
Yeah.
Including the guy that Tom has seen take money and the guy whose parents confirm that, yeah, we're paying him. Yeah, that's the line he gives is,
Yeah.
well, I'm just doing this because I'm just being a nice guy. And that's certainly possible as you're talking to someone, right? I mean, I got a couple neighbor kids and I've got a skill in pickleball or name a sport. And I just want to bring them out there and I'm going to show them some things. Certainly possible that someone could be doing it. And that's where it gets tricky is I need to be able to somewhat prove that you're actually now, but if you have 3 or 4 kids and then an hour later, you have 3 or 4 more new kids, which is what you see out there. It's not just one kid, it's little small groups coming through.
So that's just it. Like there is no proof.
Right.
Like even in terms of moving through the steps, right? You're going to go from step 2 to step 3. How do we do that? Because we don't want to put the onus on the staff to take pictures, or that's
Yeah.
not fair to them.
Right.
So how do we move through to higher level?
I think it becomes not the park staff. I think it becomes someone like a leadership staff, me or Sky or Tom. And it probably comes from talking to the parents. That's how we found out about that this guy certainly was taking money. Because parents are like, oh yeah, I pay him. And the other thing I said to Sky and Tom the other day is maybe something in the spring and summer when this is the most issue, like an A-frame or something that clearly says, no private instruction allowed in the park. Because you get parents who I'm sure aren't thinking they're doing anything wrong.
Right.
You just got Jake, who's a great, volleyball instructor. And, well, I wouldn't think that I'm sure he's got it figured out. So the parents, I mean, maybe putting some pressure on that side for parents questioning, like, are you allowed to be here? And is this okay? And again, because at the end of the day, we want people in our parks. But if you're making a few $100s over the course of a day running things in our park, I mean, that's just, we will need to change our policies if we're going to allow that. And so that's
But if you made this card and it's a positive message, it's we want you part of this parks program system. And that's what that's on the sign with that card. I see it on the signboard. It says, good news, if you have programs that you want to run in the park, for example, this, and this, scan this QR code, come see us, and we'll help you grow it.
Right. And by the way, no private instruction allowed
without a,
after all.
Yeah, and
Without-
that, like, to me, that's the way you make it an uplifting message. Like, you want to do private instruction in the park? Good news, do it with us, right? Rather than say, know this, know that, is, to me, it's just more sign litter, and people are like, yeah, get those guys. Like, right? I mean, give them something that shows them how great it could be and how welcoming it is, and then the parents see the same message, right?
Well, and we could have potentially something like that in the aquatic center, because the public, I'm guessing, isn't really coming in here, but everyone's going to want to go to the aquatic center.
Yeah.
So maybe we could say some little tiny blurb, talk to the front desk.
Yeah.
We'd like to have a
Yeah.
coaching seminar, a class.
Yeah. The aquatic center front desk is really the Parks and Recreation District front desk. I mean, it's the same there, and we'll have other challenges in there. We might get people wanting to do private instructions in the pool. And, I mean, at my old work, we had a fitness room, and that was always personal trainers coming in there and, paying for a monthly pass so they could bring their clients in. So, and that was a government building too. So we had to kind of get them out. It's just, like I said, at the end of the day, I love seeing people out in the park. And the last thing we want to do is, I kind of, I'm agreeing with your positive message, Matt. I think the goal here isn't to shoo them away to somewhere else. The goal is to just get them to play ball.
Right, like, if you look at, like, the one that's probably the hub in the north side is Woodville Sports Fields, right there where the city hall and police station is.
Mhm.
They've got pretty highly structured rate and fee program for, using one goal, using a quarter field, using a half field, using a full field. So it's just, like I said, it's something that they give to organizations, coaches, soccer clubs, baseball clubs, across teams. And it's plain and simple. Like, it's really easy to follow. It's expensive. They pay $180 an hour or something like that, maybe more now. But like I said, it's pretty cookie cutter. Like, it's not just like, oh, this is the system. So just follow it.
Also hearing that there are a couple consistent bad actors that know that we have a system.
Yeah.
And they don't give a F, and that you need some other tools
Yeah.
to.
Well, the letter's a middle ground. The letter is saying, I don't want to just go to these bad actors tomorrow and call the police and deal with that. I would rather not have the police in at all. The letter is intended for those people that have been clearly choosing not to follow the rules, to give them one last chance to kind of, come around. Like I said, the goal is to keep them in the park. You just got to play by the same rules everyone else does.
I like the letter as a whole. I was just, questioning why it was kind of like backdated for the verbal. Why, have a verbal, great,
Yeah.
know some info, but I didn't know why when you get the letter, it was also talking about potential ban.
Yeah, I like the positive little card to start. Something that says, "Hey, if you're gonna do this, this is the way you can do it above board, and this is the way you have to do it if you want to do it." That's the other part of this. So, okay, good conversations, good notes. Appreciate it. That is all I have. So, if you guys don't have anything else, I will call this meeting adjourned at 7:00. For that. I will say, next month's meeting is going to be much more, a lot of decisions to make next one. So not a lot, not major decisions, but